born an athlete, you'll die an athlete. It's in your DNA.
You're an athlete. Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.
A little bit.
I was nervous the first time I did it. I was super nervous.
I really don't want to hear my voice.
Dan's nervous. All right. Welcome, athletes, into the gym closet. We got a lot of exciting things going on here, so we are a quick episode today. We're going to talk about some things that we wanted to make sure that we get out. But as you can see, this is not Amber. This is Dan. He will be head coaching over at our West Des Moines location, and then we're here as always with Zach.
What's up?
Now, Amber could not be here today. We are on a different recording schedule today, and so she is not in the office today, but moving forward, she will be here. I know everybody will miss it. This will probably get half the views that we typically get because Amber's not on it, but I'm not going to market it as Amber's not here, because then hopefully if you were looking for Amber, we can still give you some good content and give you a little bit of information and knowledge today. So that's why we wanted to make sure that we get one done this week. We have the new app out, so that has been a whirlwind of questions, and hopefully if you have any questions on that, get a hold of myself or Zach or Dan can help you with those. But a migration of entire software has been an interesting experience, to say the least.
Yeah, we're talking, thousands of, basically anyone that's ever been in our system ever.
I think it's like 5,000
across both locations.
Contacts.
Like 5,000 people. Yeah,
5,000 contacts with multiple different touch points and different things that have to transfer over to a new system. And so we're doing that, and that is always extremely fun because there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that, and a lot of things that have, but just the learning curve. So bear with us. If your app's working great, awesome. If not, there's probably one of 15 reasons why, and we can just go down that checklist and figure out which one it is and get it working for you. But download the Krave Gym app. It is an awesome app. We have the content out, so if you were listening to this either on your podcast listening app, what do you call, like, where do you house podcasts? Like, what would you call that?
Yeah,
an app. Okay,
yeah, I think.
So if you're listening to us audibly wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and check out Krave Gym app. We will have 2 weeks free of the whole content suite. We are going to have so much cool stuff on that content suite. We are going to have, currently we have the podcast up, of course, but we also have the season's workouts, the season's live workouts. We will have a ton of recipes that will continue to update and continue to add more to. So you're going to have a free cookbook, or not free, but included in your app price. You are going to have that cookbook, and you are also going to have a bunch of little active rest day videos and different things. So the content there is just the starting point. We are super excited to continue to build that out and give as many tools and as much value from that as possible. So if you are in town and you are a part of the Krave Gym team here at West Des Moines or Waukee, you already have access to that. You should be downloading that and booking in. If you are not from this area, go ahead and download that app and register for it. Do all that good stuff so that you can see the content. And then we are also going to have an option to just buy the app as far as the content suite. So that's not there yet. We just migrated into the hard membership, like if you are here, but we are expanding. So we will have a membership that is a virtual membership that will get you access to the app, and you can have all the content and work out with us. If you're in Texas, if you're in Paris, if you're in Florida, and you are working out at a gym that is not a Krave gym, you can still train like an athlete. You can still have all of the perks that our athletes have as far as the programming and the way of life that we talk about. So if this is the first time that you are hearing us at the Gym Closet, we are a Krave Gym podcast. Download that app, and you'll get more of our content from that app. And if you have never listened to us, we are a life optimization podcast. So we talk about how to live life like an athlete, and what that means to us is being the best version of yourself, being as successful as you can be, and kicking ass in life. So without further ado, we are going to get into a couple things. So we are going to have as I was talking about doing a bio day on Dan, we realized that we haven't done a bio day on Zach.
I realized.
I also realized after you told me. So we're going to dive into each one of our lives. And we also mentioned that, like, we haven't dove deeper into our lives as far as like Q&A. So what we're going to do, I think, to make it interactive, is we are going to have a Q&A with our athletes, with anybody listening, that you can ask. We're going to start with Dan as our new head coach, as a new add-on to the podcast. If you have questions for Dan, we're going to put those up. So we have a week here, or a little under a week, to ask questions about Dan. We'll answer those questions. We'll dive deep into Dan's life and uncover all of the
questions are off limits.
Don't be afraid to ask.
So we are going to dive into a bio episode of Dan next week. And then, because I realized that we've done a very shitty job of getting to know us as human beings, we are all going to do then a bio episode of Zach, bio episode of myself, and of Amber, and kind of go from there. So those will be coming. It will be awesome to hear all about our lives. And I know that if you get to know us, or if you've listened to us, you've got to know us a little bit, and just diving in and answering any questions of what made us the weirdos that I'm speaking for myself. What made me the weirdo that I am is a popular question. So we'll figure that out, and we'll do the same with everybody else and find out why they are the way they are. So today we have two segments. We're going to go over our myth. We're going to go over our word of the week. Dan is going to have his own segment at some point. We're thinking that we are in complete construction mode of our craving, so we will have an additional craving coming out as well. But to start where we're starting, do we want to do myth? Or
we can do myth first.
Let's go.
Yeah.
We're going to jump into myth. I don't know what this is, so
no one ever knows what myth is.
Nope.
Yeah,
yep.
no. So
I'm excited.
Myth this week, and it just has struck a nerve with me lately. There is, and again, I never know how to word these myths when I come up with them. We're going to talk about the myth of needing to do these fancy, like, Instagram style workouts and having to construct your workout with all of these elaborate movements, I guess is what you would say. I could have worded that way better, probably. But yeah, so there's becoming, social media is great for a lot of stuff. In the fitness community, it's unfortunately a lot worse than I think better. I get asked, me personally at least, a lot of times, why don't we do, X, Y, and Z movements? Why do we not do these things? Why do we not, strap a bunch of weights on ourselves and do all these crazy movements? The simple answer is the things that we do, deadlifting, squatting, pressing, rowing, like those big major movements are way, 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 way more important, right? So you can, if you have all the time in the world and you're going to come into the gym and you're going to train 6-7 days a week for 2 hours every day, sure, you can go out and you can do some crazy, stuff that's going to hit the smallest little section of muscle fibers and fine tune that one little area that you're looking for. But if you're looking to be efficient and optimize things, like we talk about all the time, we come in and we do our 3 team training sessions a week for an hour. We can get everything that you need to get done in 3 hours a week done because we're efficient with our movements, right? So if you come in and you deadlift and you squat and you lunge, that's pretty much all you need to do for your lower body, right? There's different things you can do. You can obviously add in plenty of other accessory movements, but if you're doing those 3 movements, there's not a lot else in life that's going to be outside of those movement patterns, essentially, right? Same thing with your upper body. If you are bench pressing, if you're overhead pressing, you're rowing, and you're doing pull-ups, those are pretty much all the movements that you're doing in life, right? So there's a lot of extra little movements that we can add in, and we do, but there's become this like obsession with like doing these crazy movements just so you can like go viral on Instagram or on these social media platforms and say, oh, this guy knows what he's doing because look at this crazy thing he's doing. He's so into, I don't know.
Right. No, I
at
love
this point
that.
I'm just rambling and
No,
being
I
angry.
love that because it reminds me of the guy that you see deadlifting with all of the shit like strapped to the bar.
Right,
That has
yeah,
like
yeah.
a chair on the end of the bar. If
Yeah.
you've ever seen this on Instagram, and then he has like his neck thing on that then has like a barbell or a dumbbell tied to another chair. And he's doing it all on a Bozu ball, unbalanced, or on top of his friend doing like a bench press. And the biggest thing is the modality of all of that shit is just social media fame or whatever, right? So the funny thing that I think of is, say that you have that person maybe is in excellent shape. So I think the myth comes from that person is doing that to get into great shape that he's in or she's in, and I want to look like her, so I need to do these movements. They are doing that movement on camera to do that movement on camera.
Right.
They are most of the time, and I'm not going to speak for all the time, but they are 90% of the time only doing that to put it online and give you something crazy that they can do and show off. To go viral or to get more followers or whatever the case might be. But it's a marketing tactic versus what's actual optimal or what they even do. Like they probably do the same exact movements if they're in great shape and if they're doing, if they are look the part, that's important. And they're probably doing things that we're doing on a weekly basis to get to the point where they look that way. And then they videotape a stupid movement. Right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It reminds me of, do you remember like the old like Bowflex commercials or like rower commercials?
Yeah.
Where they would have just like an absolutely like stacked guy that was like shredded out of his mind, like bodybuilder type body, and they're like, you can achieve this by
doing this Bowflex.
By doing this Bowflex a couple times. Like, no.
Exactly.
You're
Look
not.
like this for 10 payments of 20,
Right.
Yeah, 20
Right.
bucks.
And I think that the other great point that you made, Zach, was that you can do those movements, and some of those are valuable. If you're doing unilateral stuff that maybe we're not doing in the gym, and you're doing it on a Bozu ball for extra balance, a lot of times we'll do those things, those extra movements with athletes that are doing a fourth session, or we'll program some of those more simple, not the crazy Instagram movements. Those are aside, but a movement that we may not do. A good example is an ab circuit. We have had, shout out Megan, we have had many people say, why don't we do an ab circuit? And my response to that is, in that hour of training, you just trained a ton of core that you may not have realized. And we do our core movements, and we do actually do specific ab movements as well inside of our active rest type of thing. But an ab circuit might be a good thing for your fourth day, your active rest day. But the biggest thing is bang for your buck, I think. And if you have a limited amount of time that you have in the gym, spending 15 minutes doing an ab circuit instead of, because if you have extra time, do it. Great. There's no problem with doing it. But if you have an hour and you have the option to either squat, deadlift, bench press, do a major compound movement, or do an ab circuit, that compound movement is going to do twice as much for your abs than doing that ab movement. So that's the biggest thing, is the crazy movements can be in your program, but they should make up 2% of your program, or the 2% that is 102%. You know what I mean? Like if you have an hour and you make yourself stay for an hour and 15 minutes to do that 15 minute.
Right.
Then
If you're adding some of those movements on top of what you're already doing,
right.
Fine.
But again, it's the foundation, I think, too.
Right.
Because if you don't have, say that you think that you're adding them on top of doing something, but you're not adequately training, you aren't adding something on.
Right.
you're still taking away time that you should be doing something else.
Right.
And so that's where our programming at Crave, and if you periodize your programming like you should be doing, that's where that programming comes into play. Is you get the essentials, you get the things that are going to have the biggest bang for your buck, set that foundation, and then that's 3 hours a week for us. If you're going to come in an active rest day, a 4th day, a 5th day, a 6th day, that's when you can do some of those specific either body part targeting. And when I say that, I don't mean fat targeting. I mean, like, if I want bigger arms, the team sessions are not going to concentrate on arms for me. But what I can do is, on top of the foundation of the team sessions that get me into the best shape that I can be in, I can then do arm workouts on top of that, if that's one of my big goals, right? And so that's what we kind of talk about a lot in there. So I think that that's a great myth. The myth should be busted. Do not need, or most people shouldn't do, like if you're looking at some of those crazy movements where you're doing, this is another point of contention that I've seen too. Athletes, like a pro football player,
Yeah.
doing a movement like a squat on top of a band, like a stretched out band, making it uneven, and doing that movement with weight on his back with the higher higher percent risk of injury makes zero sense. Now there's reasons for balance movements and different things like that, but the risk reward of some of those crazy movements is really not worth it, especially if you're making millions of dollars playing a sport and you're risking injury doing a stupid, one-legged squat on a dumbbell, and if you break your leg, you're out $1 million. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so some of those, you got to measure the risk rewards. And if you're a starter, if you're just starting your journey and you just join a gym, or you just come into, to start your fitness, and you're looking online and you're saying like, oh, tomorrow's my first day working out in 10 years, I'm going to try that movement. That's
a terrible idea. Yeah. Don't do
Build
that.
your foundation, and then eventually the tip of the tip. What time is it?
10:31.
Oh damn, my clock is way up.
Oh,
My clock is still staying 10, 12.
10, 12, it's been like that for 20 minutes.
Okay.
It's been 10:12.
All right, I'm going to dip out.
All right. See you, Dan. So Dan has his nutrition meeting right now, but we are going to continue to roll through into our word of the week. And today's word of the week, I really wanted to get out this week. Talks about again, some of this online stuff that you can get lost in the fitness industry has to do with this. But the word of the week is caution. So caution is basically defined as establishing or indicating who or what someone or something is. So that's kind of the definition that we are going to be practicing, that caution, and making sure that what you're doing is A, not a scam to get you out of your money, B, not a useless movement that you shouldn't be doing if you're not doing the foundational movements. And so what kind of got me started on this was, there was a story that one of my athletes told me, that his friend has a very hard time. They were a Crave athlete as well, but they had a hard time being consistent in the gym or doing nutrition consistently at Crave. Since then has introduced a program that is a nutritional program that was described to me as kind of a nutritional institute, where they feed this person, they give them what they need, and it costs thousands of dollars. But from what the story is basically it's an underfeeding program, that you go there for your meals and you might have a snack of honey and water or whatever the case might be, but it's an accountability feeding program that is basically taking your money to tell you not to eat. Right. And so the tough part so my athlete that I work with here at Crave was telling me the story about his friend, and he said that he would think that his friend would be smarter than that, and that his friend should do things a certain way and listen to this podcast, and we have all the tools, and we have things that should work for him, and all this kind of stuff. And when he was telling me that, I started thinking, I'm like, I don't think that it's his friend's fault. And he was like, what? And we talked about why that was, and I was like, I don't think it's his friend's fault. I think it's the industry's fault that these so-called experts are telling you that I can get you a certain result in 30 days, pay me $1,000, and we will get you to lose 12 pounds or 20 pounds or 40 pounds or whatever the case might be. And they are using the platform or the clout or their title or their name or whatever they're using to make you think that they are an expert, and they're giving you bullshit advice or bullshit information that is basically just starving yourself to lose weight, right? And so that kind of got me to the point where it's like, it's not someone's fault if the industry is telling them a certain thing. It is more on the industry to correct itself and not allow this kind of programming to happen, and it's kind of bullshit that it does. And so that led me to think about kind of red flags in our industry, and we talk about them all the time. We're super transparent at Crave, so the programming that we do, everything that we do, living like an athlete, is all about the optimal training, right? So we take the latest science and we implement it in a way that humans can do, whether that's our nutrition or our training, that fit into your life, right? And so when looking for a program, I thought, damn, I want to warn people like his friend, and I want to warn people about different things that you could spend money on, because the nutrition, the supplement business, the fitness industry is $1 billion industry that takes advantage of a lot of people in order to make sales, to do different things. There's a lot of different people that are starting to come out on social media and spotlight these bullshit claims and throw red flags on them. So I think that's awesome. And so there's a couple accounts that we'll link in this video that do have those kind of call out accounts. But the red flags that I wanted to go over today is number one, bullshit marketing that sounds too good to be true. That's going to be something that you want to watch out for, and it can be in a bunch of different ways, right? So one of those type of bullshit marketing that we kind of touched on before was someone has his shirt off, he's ripped, so whatever he's doing I'm going to do, and he's telling me that he's doing this, so I'm going to pay him for this product, or I'm going to pay him for this program so I can look like him. Number one, half the time that's bullshit. They're doing something that they're saying they're doing something that they're not doing. So make sure you do your research and be cautious if someone has their shirt off. And it's a marketing tactic inside of the industry, that if you're inside of the industry, and it's been talked about publicly, that if you want it to be successful, be ripped, have your shirt off, and take a video with your shirt off so that people can see that you're ripped, and then they'll buy your product because they assume that you take your product.
And that's one of the things too that always drives me insane with stuff like that, is just because someone is shredded does not mean they have a single clue of what they're doing.
Exactly.
Right? Like that, and that's, I think, again, going off of that, there's a genetic component. There's so many things that go into it. I can go find Joe Schmo on the street and, bring him in here if he's big and say, hey, say that you do this, and it just was one of those things that just because, you're big or you're lean or whatever you're looking to do does not mean that you have any sort of knowledge based on how you got to that point. What I mean?
And that kind of leads me into another red flag, is someone's background or title that makes you think they know what they're talking about, right? a lot of times, especially in the nutrition industry, or the supplement industry, in Instagram, or even the fitness, I mean, this is all about the fitness industry, and it ties together with the supplements and nutrition industry, is someone that's making claims and in front of their name is Dr. So-and-so. People's background matters, and you have to do a little bit of digging and be cautious about that person's background. So if I'm Dr. Tyler Robinson and I am a neurosurgeon and I'm giving you advice on how to eat, and then I go on and I tell you to buy this product, chances are that I'm not telling you I'm a doctor as a neurosurgeon. I'm just trying to make this is a money grab. So I'm just saying I'm Dr. Tyler Robinson, and I know because I'm Dr. Tyler Robinson that you should eat this. Oh, and by the way, I sell this. Buy it. And so that's ultimately like the and I'll call it a scam. That's the scam that happens all the time. And we place trust in the word doctor, the title, or someone's background. So look into what they're a doctor of. If you looked into me and I'm a doctor and I'm a neurosurgeon and I'm a doctor of this and I'm telling you what to eat, I should not know or spend any time. I know me personally, I don't want to have a neurosurgeon that is spending half of his time researching and working with people on nutrition. I don't want that expert in brain surgery to that's what a neurosurgeon does, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
Just to make sure.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. But I don't want that brain surgeon to know anything other than everything about brain surgery.
Right.
And
because they don't study nutrition.
Right.
It's not their scope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scope of practice.
Exactly.
That's the scientific term that you should, or the research term that you should really think about is what's their scope of practice. The thing that I see most often is a doctor in chiropractic telling you something that has nothing to do with their practice, right? And so if they're stepping outside of their scope of practice to sell you a product or to do X, Y, and Z, that's a bigger problem than someone that does nutrition on a daily basis or does exercise on a daily basis. It doesn't mean that those people might not know a little bit about that, but their scope of practice is not inside of the field of nutrition or exercise.
It would be like asking us to go in and do a brain surgery.
Right, yeah.
Or crack your back.
Yeah, exactly.
Both could kill you.
Yeah, if someone asks me what my thoughts are about L4 and L5 and if I should worry about their what they should do to eliminate this pain or whatever, most of the time I'm going to refer them to a chiropractor or a physical therapist, someone that's a doctor or has the background in things that are more apt for pain or injury or something like that. That's not my field of practice, and so my scope of practice has to be within the nutrition, exercise, and me personally, like business and things that I've done that you can listen to people for is their background and experience. But you should not listen to me if I'm talking about what you should do to, I don't know, what's an example? What you should do to maximize brain focus, as far as if I'm trying to sell you a supplement that will maximize your focus or whatever the case might be. Like, those things are not things that we study on a regular basis, and so that should be something that you keep your scope of practice. So doctor does not mean expert in the field that they're giving advice in. So
the other thing is always funny in the videos when they have like the white lab coat on.
Yes.
And you're supposed to just trust them because they have their fancy lab coat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, it's just...
Actually, ignore everything that we're saying. We are going to now start wearing lab coats in the gym closet, so that you know what we say is for real. But yeah, the background and then what they're selling. Like, a lot of times those people that are doctors and then are also selling a product will go into a detailed video about something and never say that they're selling a product or never do anything about that product, But then in subsequent ads and subsequent things, they're associating themselves with that. And now you already know that this person showed this video. They didn't try to sell you the product in that video, but that product is being sold elsewhere, and now you try to think that, or you try to give that person credit and expertise to sell you that product, and they might never tell you that they're associated with it. So you have to do a little bit of research and be cautious on that end. Another red flag is kind of bullshit claims. So something that a lot of people will claim is super fast results. Anything that claims that you don't have to do anything, there's a magic pill, and you had mentioned this a little bit earlier, there's a magic pill or a secret sauce, and you can kind of go into that, but you will lose 20 pounds in 20 days. Come join my program. Like, that is a program that you should avoid.
Right.
Period.
Right.
Lose this many inches in the first month, and those type of things are all grabs for money. And so those type of things, as far as the marketing behind them, you should be leery of those type of programs and stuff. And we can dive a little bit into secret sauce and magic pill next, but this is another red flag.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite ones always that I always think of when I think red flags is the people that will claim, over here in my program, I have this secret that no one else knows, that this will get you the fast results. This will get you where you want to be. Nobody else knows. There are billions and billions and billions of dollars every probably year being spent just to research in this field. Think about in the world, how many people in the world want to lose weight?
Right.
Billions, probably.
That's a
yes. Out of 7-some billion people in the world, a big chunk want to lose weight, right? So we're supposed to believe that out of how big of an industry weight loss is, and how much money and time and effort gets put into researching weight loss, that this random guy just stumbled upon, a secret that no one else knows. Yeah. Out of how many years people have been trying to lose weight.
And I'm thinking of specific examples, but I love the person that is saying these things too. Like everyone else in the industry is doing it wrong. Right. I found the secret. I am a college dropout. Not that that's a big deal, but I don't know much about this. This is my first year in the fitness industry. I look great, but now I'm starting to coach, and this is my first year coaching, and so.
And that's the thing those types of things.
But I have the secret.
Right.
That no one else, all of these experts in the world, and no one else knows it, and here, you can buy it from me for $20 a month, join my program.
Right. And that's the unfortunate thing is a lot of these things go together. So that's where the perfect storm of those things happen is, Joe Schmo with, good genetics and, gym bro who goes in and lifts for 3 hours a day every day. Even if you don't know what you're doing, you do that, you're going to, get some muscles. All of a sudden, that makes a perfect storm for him to do another one of those things, start making those bullshit claims and the magic pill claims and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, because it's easy and simple, that's the other thing that has to go into all of these red flags, is it's the easy option, right? So whether it's a magic pill or fast results, the reason that works on people is because as humans, we want the path of least resistance, right? If you're comparing two things, and I think we've talked about this before, but if you compare two things, and over here option A is telling you about their sustainable results and their scientifically backed programming and all of that stuff that we talk about all the time, and over here it's
do nothing and lose this much weight in 1 week.
I have a secret I can sell you for quick weight loss. If you don't know any better, 10 people out of 10 are going to pick easy, quick weight loss. Right. And then the other thing with the magic pills too is, I need to find this list, but someone put a list out that I just saw going back the last 20 years, how many of those magic pills there are. And it's funny because, Right now, carbs
we're
are bad.
We're a big list podcast.
Yes, we
too,
love
so
lists. We're just going to list them off and talk about them. But like right now, all you know that we can talk about is carbs are bad. Carbs are bad. Carbs are bad. 10 years ago, fat was bad. Carbs were good 10 years ago.
Right.
You know, nothing changed in humans in the last 10 years, right? Like eggs is another really popular one.
That was the new magic pill. And
Right.
Eggs are an interesting one.
Eggs are always
eggs have gone
really
back.
good or really bad.
In my career, in 20 years, eggs have been good and bad probably 20 different times.
Oh yeah, each.
Yeah.
Like it goes back, and that's the thing is with all these magic pill type things, there's a new thing coming out every month, right? And so it's one of those things that, again, as someone in the industry, it is interesting how people can keep chasing that next thing, right? But it's just that promise of it being easy.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, over time, it should be proven that weight loss or whatever your goals are, it's simple, but it's not easy. Right? It's not, the way of doing it is not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, people are able to prey on that human nature to search for the easy answer, and that's just how we get here.
Yep.
So.
Yeah. So I mean, as far as actionable steps that I try to give with all of these Word of the Week, think about one, recognize the red flags, use caution when you are, and be critical of all of these people that are marketing. And if it says sponsored underneath the thing, that means they're spending money to put this in front of you for a purpose, which is most likely to try to get their money back by you spending products. We do it too, but we're going to be as transparent as possible. And if any of these red flags come up in a sponsored ad, for sure, then that's going to be another red flag. But any of this stuff comes up, what I would recommend is talk to a Krave coach, talk to an expert around you that you know has spent years and has the educational background and has the prerequisites required to know about the science of this stuff. Do research on the people that are giving you this information. Look deeper than their abs or the female's butt or whatever that attracts you to that ad, and instead of spending money, prior to spending money, ask yourself and ask an expert, whether it's a Krave coach or someone that you know. If you're not here at Krave, reach out to us. We love answering questions about all of this kind of stuff. So just make sure that you take the step prior to spending a ton of money to make sure that it's worth your money. And if it is worth your money, it's not a problem to spend that money. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that cost money, but like our program is not free. We have experts here in this program that have gone through decades of training and experience and have the education needed to sift through all of the bullshit, and our program is not free. But the value that our program provides and the long-term success that you can have in our program makes it worth the money. I'm very capitalistic. I think that there are things that you should spend money on, and especially inside of the nutrition and fitness field. The problem is most of the industry is trying to strip you of your money and not give you value. So if we can give you value at Krave, we strive to give as much value as possible because you're paying the money, you deserve the value. Most people are not that way. Most people want to give you zero value, give you a sugar pill, give you the magic pill, and collect money on the back end without serving or servicing the clients or consumers. So just word of the week, caution, make sure that you're taking those things into consideration. So I think that's all that we got. It was a quicker one today, and I apologize if the video is any wonky at all. We did not have the camera. Amber stole the camera this week, but because she's not here. we did not have it. So this is a Android special and an iPhone special as far as the audio and video. So hopefully, if there is any issues, I will insert this, and if there's not any of issues, I will probably cut this part out and you'll never see it, and you won't even know the difference of us having a camera or not having a camera. So with all of that being said, remember, you're an athlete, live like it.
$40 minutes. 40-minute recorded.
It's in your DNA.
Live like an athlete so that you can be successful in life.
You're an athlete. Live like it.
ANA, America needs athletes.